11,000 pounds. We've got a, what, 35-foot-ish Bighorn here at HaylettRV of Coldwater, Michigan. Just came in as a new member of our consignment fleet where we can sell RVs for other folks. Now, don't let the fact that I mentioned that confuse you whatsoever. We list this and we can sell this exactly like it was any of our other pieces of inventory, including taking trades, completing financing for you, all that stuff. We're still the largest independent standalone dealer in the state of Michigan. We can still do everything you're looking for. We were actually a Bighorn dealer for a period. If I had to describe this in very simplistic terms, it would just be Heartland's Montana fifth wheel. And that's not a knock. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, if you want to open up shop and you want to build big fifth wheels, Montana's certainly the first brand you should be looking at with their success. Couple little spots on this. I like to talk about elephants. I like to get elephants out of the room. I have not located anything that I feel is a leak or anything like that. However, there is a slight defect in a little bit of lamination on this wall. You can actually see a couple points where the skin has bubbled a little bit, but you can also bang on this thing and get friendly with it, and it's completely intact structurally underneath. And this is something that Heartland RVs during this time period were known for, and it's called toad skinning. What this is it's not a structural defect. It's not a leak. It's when they laminated this wall, they did two things that they have likely since corrected. First, they used virgin styrofoam. When styrofoam comes into the RV manufacturers, it looks flat to the human eye, but it's actually slightly unlevel. Well, most big manufacturers will go through and they actually plane it off and they sand it. That didn't happen here. They thought that they could streamline the process a little bit without consequence. Turned out to be wrong. Secondly, when the wall was laminated, the bead foam in the walls had it's all sealed, so there's gases trapped inside the wall. When the heat hits the wall and the gases expand, then it gets into those little areas where the virgin styrofoam dip down into little valleys, and it just bubbles a little bit. So maybe it's not the most attractive sightly thing, but it's also extremely minor. It's only cosmetic, and there's nothing structural wrong with this coach. It looks to have been extremely well maintained. Long story short, just due to a life change, they just don't need a fifth wheel anymore. That's the only reason this is here, because until very recently, they were out in it, they were camping, they were loving it and having a good time, and I can understand why. It's a great floor plan, in great shape. I've talked about the elephant in the room. We got it out of the way. If you're still with us now, understand there's 99% good more to talk about. This is a very nice fifth wheel someone's really going to enjoy. So I'm using the force with my Jedi mind to open that baggage compartment down there, and there might be a little bit of wind assistance going on currently, but oh, there it goes, I'm closing it. Perfect. But all joking aside, this has a large drop frame storage. It goes from a 12-inch down to a 10-inch beam, and what that does for us is it creates this just huge baggage compartment that we're looking at from the other side here. Here's the full look, and I like that they weren't using the cheap carpeting down here. I like that rubberized floor matting, just like they use in toy haulers, basically. And in point of fact, if you look, you'll actually see a couple toy hauler-like cargo tie-downs for big, heavy stuff. Now, fully enclosed privatized docking center, along with a enclosed heated underbelly. These things had like a 5-inch laminated walk-on roof. Again, being a dealer of this historically around the time period this was built, very familiar with the nuts and bolts of this thing. They have held together well over the years. Especially, I mean, the Bighorn is one of the brands that built Heartland. I mean, Bighorn and Landmark were their two flagship coaches, and really still are. And they just did a great job. Now, over time, being stored outside, a couple decals have gotten a little curly. Big deal. You know what? You take a pressure washer, you finish blowing that off, you'll never notice the difference, and you're going to have a very nice, clean-looking coach below that. Speaking of clean, this has been kept clean and well kept. There have been Max Air roof covers installed up top over the ceiling vents. There's a reinforced actual towing hitch down there, not just accessory hitch, but actual towing hitch. Front and rear caps, usually a good indicator of something in the little higher echelon bracket. I've been up and down that ladder. I've walked around the roof. She's fine. Power front leveling jacks, push button rear stabilizer jacks. She's a sharp coach. She really is. I like that center awning support up there too, just to help keep it from bowing over time. And a power awning at a time where a lot of big fifth wheels were still just transitioning into it. Where you got it. Oh, tires, by the way. Tires look really good. always gave Heartland credit for being a very dynamic force in the RV industry at a time where it was very stagnant. They really came in and, you know, they said just because everything has looked the same way and been built the same way for a long time doesn't mean that it has to be. And they were one of the first that really shook things up. Like beautiful slide fascia around here, a lot of decor like factors going into that. And I like the fact that the 6.5 foot tall full walk-in slide out has full overhead storage. The taller slide gives us the ability to have overhead storage and big windows, all of which open for ventilation, and all the windows have dual section day and night shades, which is nice. So you get light, privacy, you get whatever you want. Padded butts and backs on the chairs, which is a nice touch as opposed to just your rear end. You know, you can lean back and feel comfort in it too. And this table here, it does have a hideaway extension leaf. And over here on this side, you've actually got a handy little storage desk sort of space where you can keep some extra, you know, plates or napkins or, I don't know, board games if the grandkids are over something. This is a airbed style hide-a-bed. I haven't looked around to see if the bladder is still present or intact. But at the time, this is what everybody was using. I do still see where it looks like the power cord is in the back, which indicates to me it actually was used a little bit because the pump has been pulled out. Dual recliners, swivel recliners, and you can see we actually pulled these out. They were all strapped down for transit, exactly like they're supposed to be. Now, something that kind of struck me as interesting, I get a feeling these people didn't cold camp in this thing at all, and they covered the floor vents, I'm estimating, so that things like dirt, debris, little, you know, Skittles and M&Ms didn't fall down there. So that's a nice preventative measure that I like to see. I mean, ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. That's a phrase that we've probably heard most of our lives, and it definitely applies to RVing, and they definitely accomplish that here. Now, I've always preferred side entertainments, and you know what's funny, again, given Heartland credit, Heartland, it's not that side entertainments hadn't existed before. It's just that they made them mainstream. Heartland is really the reason almost all big fifth wheels are side entertainments at this point. The most popular ones are, anyway. The TV can swing out here, so if you are sitting in these twin swivel recliners with that very interesting sort of like, corduroy print on them if you take a look at it. You don't have to crank your neck around. It's very easy to see. And by the virtue of the fact that the TV does swing out means it's actually easy to get back here. You can get to your cables. You can get to everything. You got extra little DVD shelf storage back here. And for those work campers out there, we've got our own little built-in desk space. Which, I mean, that's so valuable. I don't understand why more of this does not exist in the RV market today. Because if nothing else, it makes the RV look and feel bigger. But just having, like, you can grab one of these chairs over here, plop that sucker over there, because most of the time you only need 2 chairs at the dining table anyway. Put the other one in the closet, and then have 2 at the dining table. But the extra window, like, to me, this is a little writer's nook. It's a great little workstation. I really like that. And if you're not sure, you can come over here to this corkboard. You can put a pin in it. Get it? Put a pin in it. These are the jokes, people. Anyway, so these overhead cabinet doors, what I kind of like about them is twofold. First of all, they create a division. That's the kitchen. This is the living room. There's a defining line that you cross through this negative space right here where you know you leave from one into the other. And that ceiling fan up there pushing around some airflow is nice. But what's cool is you can kind of put quick little easy access stuff in here to get to either side. This is also a nice way to get to see part of the construction of this. Like if you look up here, you can see that it's real wood inside these cabinet styles. It's all lumber core, which means wood structure in the cabinet styles and the hardwood doors here. So this is all wood. And it's all pocket screwed. It's going to hold together. It's going to last. See, the countertops here, they're all solid surface, including the matching kitchen extension, as if you didn't have enough prep space here with this big L-shaped peninsula, you have even more. And I always look for original manuals. When I see original manuals left in something, it's a great indicator to me that this is an RV that has been well maintained and looked after. Because people who tend to maintain their RVs tend to keep their brochures and their manuals. People who don't tend not to. And these are guidelines, not a Bible, but it tends to be true. I've got a lot of years of experience looking at stuff like that, and I got a pretty good idea what I'm looking for at this stage. I do like that tall slide. It really opens it right up in here. Now, the kitchen's not quite done because you see where the refrigerator is on the left side of the frame. There's pantry space on both sides of that. You have dual corner pantries, and that's a 10? Is that a 10 cubic foot fridge? It's kind of hard to discern the 8s from the 10s for me sometimes. You don't see a lot of 10s anymore. You did a lot when this was built though. And the bigger ceiling fan up here so that you can get some good airflow going, especially if you're cooking in the kitchen. That's your primary heat exhaust point. And right when you walk in the door, you've got a nice big coat closet, and your control center is kind of hidden back there so the grandkids can't see and muck with your buttons. They're mounted up high. Again, I'm not trying to discredit anything, but the classic Montana laundry chute present here in the Heartland version of Montana, but what a great feature. You don't see it much anymore because you don't see a lot of split bath master suites anymore. Like here we've got a big 70 by 80 true king bed. You've got windows on both sides for airflow and windows across by the dresser for extra airflow. And speaking of storage, holy crap. Great dresser space. You can throw a TV above. It looks like they have a safety strap for in-transit use there. All the original bedding and everything is still present and accounted for. We are washer, dryer ready. If you get up here in this corner, you can see that. I believe the way that this one's set up, you can do like a washer and a dryer like side saddle. I'd have to take a little closer look at it, but if nothing else, it's at least combo-matic capable. And extra dedicated dresser space right over here. Just great storage up here. I like these stands in the slide out as well. Very nice place to keep your phone next to you or something. Like I do that. I keep my phone by me at night. My phone is my alarm clock. It's my, personal assistant in a way. It does everything. This is a nice feature right here. Instead of scaling down the bathroom counter, they made it match the kitchen, and that is a big adult-sized sink you can actually get your hands into here. Classic split bath, what that gives us is the ability to have extra space to, like, first of all, just feels bigger up here because it is. It keeps the RV a little bit shorter, about 1.5 feet, and it gives us a place to stand up and get dressed. And of course, you got your classic private, closet sort of toilet situation here. You can kind of leave that door propped open to sort of cut the two off if you are showering upstairs. So, yeah, she's all handled. Plus, you have your pocket door right here. And look how to keep the pocket door from shifting around in transit, they actually packed towels around it so that it would stay tucked in place. I've never, ever seen someone go to that kind of extent before to help protect the running gear and stuff of a sliding pocket door. If this is not an indicator of the level of care and maintenance that went into this RV, I don't know what is. This has been very well kept. Very well kept. It's got a couple bubbles on the skin, and a couple stickers are, have seen some sun on the outside. Big deal. Look at the structure of this thing. I mean, this isn't just good for, like, sometimes I'll get an older RV in like this, a fifth wheeler, I'm like, well, if you're just planning on leaving it parked, it's okay. This thing's fine. You want to hook this up and tow it to Florida? She's a tank. This is going to hold. So take care, stay safe, have fun, and happy camping, everyone.